Welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Vincent Green.
I'm your host, Noel John Dewey.
And this is Pair of Rankers. And Noel, this time we came back and not alone. And we got Baish Benford. Baish, we're becoming like the furniture around here, motherfucker. And it's good to see you again. Baish, how are you keeping, dude?
You need some dark furniture, so that's why.
To coat my dark personality.
That's right. I'm like a floppy. I never go out now. Right, Noel?
That's exactly right.
Why is this like a big turd behind you?
No, it's gone. Don't worry about it, okay? Don't fucking worry about it.
Don't
worry about any of it.
He's trying to put his floppy disk in the side of his brand new laptop and just smash the fuck out.
Figure of fun. That's what I am around here. Figure of fun.
You're the ass of the joke today.
Yeah.
You're 2020 right here. You're 2020 right now.
So to give a little bit of context before we start recording, we're not just Noel bashing here for no reason.
Just making a PowerPoint presentation for all.
I don't want to be kicked off Spotify for Noel bashing. He's a protected species.
I am in fact a figure of fun around here. FOF for short.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, you bitches, get on with it.
Right.
2/3 of fun.
All right, you motherfuckers. Right, so we got you back, Baish. We got you back one more time, and all you live here or whatever. But so we got you back, and this time we got another episode of Pair Rankers. We've done 2 so far. The first one we did was our top 5 favorite horror movies or horror releases 2021. Then we spoke a little bit about our top 5 favorite superhero releases of 2021 because we lack originality. and then so the next episode we decided to know. I asked you to pick a topic and you came up with the top 5 weapons from horror movie history, and this is where we're at pretty much, and that's why we're here. So Baish, we got you in as well. We want to talk to you a bit about horror because you a big horror fan, Baish, because I know you love Conjuring and gay shit like that, but like
Baish doesn't watch movies despite the fact that
I am part of the ROC. I am the ROC, Return of the Critics. So I do watch a lot of movies. I do like horror. I'm just sorry I don't like gay ass Predator, and I don't like fucking Terminator and all other stupid shit you guys like.
You just don't like Schwarzenegger. He's like, you didn't like him as a governor. What's your agenda, Baish? What's your agenda?
Not to watch shitty movies. Yeah. So yeah, I love horror movies. You know, I got 2 of the dudes to watch Sinister, and they hate me now.
Fucking love that movie. It's terrifying.
Hey, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I didn't find it terrifying, but I when pushed into a corner, I would say that I wouldn't like to watch it on my own.
I've watched it on my own.
I remember the first time I watched it, it probably would creep me out.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't scare a guy with a PowerPoint. I mean, they know it. So.
They've seen it all. They've seen it all.
I have no friends.
that was good shit. Yeah, I love horror movies. I'm not so into like Freddy because they turned Freddy into a punchline.
Yeah,
but like the first one,
that's actually fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
But yeah,
but they did that with a lot of like villains from the 80s, like Leatherface. Like even though it was Toby Hooper come back and he said it was his vision for the movie, it became very satirical and like he became like a butt of his own joke. A lot of like Leatherface was this terrifying manic like person in Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 1, and in like Part 2, and like he's like dressing like a woman and shit like this. Like, you know, I just think that was a case of maybe the politics of the time, maybe as well, that they kind of wanted to bring the terror down a bit, you know. Money.
All about money.
So like so I brought you here first top 5, and it can be a villain, it can be a good guy, I hope. And
dude, it's flexible. Just let's do weapons.
Good. So the rules are for pair rankers, and we got our guest ranker here too. He's going to rank off all over the place along with us. We're going to be 3 dudes. We're going to be ranking shit, ranking on each other's faces.
I thought you said wanker. I'm okay. Let me put my pants on.
No, leave him off, dude. We have them off.
Okay, got you.
No one's wearing pants here, dude.
You're a Cowboys fan. The wanking was implied.
Really? You really want to do this?
I don't know, dude. That's all I got.
It's so half-hearted, Noel, because you don't know anything.
Figure of fun. Figure of fun.
Yeah, figure of fun. Okay, let's go. Go, teacher's pet. Let's do this.
So the only rules on pair rankers is we name our top 5 and in descending order, and in the last one we give it dishonorable mention for something that we thought, you know, was shit or whatever, particularly
something we
shit.
wish wasn't so fucking prevalent or whatever.
Yeah, so how we're going to kick this off is I'm going to give it to Noel because this was your idea. And who's your number 5 motherfucker? Throw it at us, and then we can make fun of you if it's not PowerPoint.
It's kitchen knives.
Yeah,
I know it's simple, but so often it's both the offensive Michael Myers and defensive Scream movies weapon.
Yeah.
It's always something that's really handy. It's there on the kitchen block. You even see movies like to get outside of the horror genre. It's like you break into the special op guy's house. Yeah, you've got the numbers and the like high tech fucking machinery, and then he reaches up into the kitchen island and he gets the knife and he just fucks you up. A kitchen knife is such a prevalent weapon.
Yeah.
It's not the more so I think than the hunter's knife, more so than an awful lot of more standard blade weapons. The kitchen knife is one of those knives that in the hand of the right user is just fucking unstoppable. And I always respected that in horror films. You always felt like when somebody reached for a kitchen knife, they were either going to get butchered or butcher, and there was never any in betweens. That's why
Sorry, no, I was sorry to cut you off. I was just going to say, do you have anyone in particular that you thought used the weapon the best, like in terms of the?
I would go Sydney from Scream for defensive. And I would go Michael Myers from Halloween as offensive. But Michael Myers, if you're going to get like, it brings Michael Myers in the original Halloween sticking, I can't think of his name, to the wall and putting the knife just through his chest in a kind of very nonchalant manner.
Yeah.
And just standing back from him and turning his head. It's one of the moments I fell in love with horror as like a 12-year-old or something like that.
Yeah.
I just remember seeing that and going, that is the first time I ever saw something that I love in horror now is indifference.
Yeah.
I always think like when somebody hates you, that's more understandable. But when somebody kills you and they don't give a fuck one way or the other, there's something particularly horrifying in that. And they had I just walk into a house, I didn't come here prepared. I'll take whatever's to hand and I'll kill. And what a thing that's always to hand, a thing that all 3 of us are no more than 20 feet away from or 30 feet away from as we speak, is a kitchen knife. Just something sharp that's available. And I always thought it's one of the most prevalent horror weapons. That's why it's not huge scale or anything like that, but that's why it makes my list.
Yeah, number 5 for you was kitchen knife. Okay. And
I don't know if I was allowed to say it.
Fuck all y'all.
Yeah, I think can we say it? Get it in my ear. Yeah, we got cancelled. I just got cancelled.
For gayness.
Yeah, I love gay people and they love me.
You work with one.
Figure of fun.
And Baish, what's your? So we heard Noel Chase's kitchen knife, and he thought Michael Myers was the kind of the best representation of that in horror and shit. And so Baish, your number 5 from horror weapons?
A wooden stake.
Wooden stake.
Yeah.
For killing vampires. That is legend. It's iconic as well, isn't it?
Like, especially even Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yeah.
Like that one, there was like stakes everywhere. It's weird that something that could kill a vampire, he would have stakes just laying around everywhere. It's like the weirdest shit to me. But that's, for me, is iconic when you look at certain things. You know, the stake for a vampire, it's like having like a cross.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like, you know what I mean, like that. So for me, a wooden stake would be it's a very easy weapon to make. It's a fucking stick that's sharpened down. But for me, a stake would be the best thing for it. Plus, like I said, I never understood why there were so many fucking things around him.
Like, one thing I like about that too is like, because you said it is iconic, because like you mentioned vampire, the first thing you think of is, they always say the garlic, the holy water, and the wooden stake through the heart. They're the 3 things everyone always mentions. And like that is the thing. Like, and like in the 90s and Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, that was fucking everywhere. Like one thing I loved about that is like she constantly had wooden stakes, like literal spikes falling over like a bag and shit.
Who the fuck leaves their house and be like, purse, makeup, wooden stake, there we go. Well, what's your Noel? Why you look so angry, Noel? Why you you look really, you like the fat kid who's actually fell before. Like who pissed in your Cheerios, bro? What happened?
Figure of fun.
I'm gonna get you an acronym for figure of fun. You're not gonna like
it's just FOF. It's just FOF.
It's not just FOF.
No, I actually agree with that. I think stakes, I think they're so prevalent in horror. I know they're essentially just for vampires, but I do think that it's something. If you had to name 10 weapons used in horror in general, stakes would come up. They just would. Yeah. Because vampires have become such a huge part. Everything from Bram Stoker's one absolutely vampire to rule them all to Blade, where they were like, you know, a dime a dozen and onwards. I think stakes a fucking good choice. What about you, Vin? What's your 5, actually? Tell me if you think stakes is a good choice and give me your 5.
Yeah, no, I think stakes is a good choice. But Baish, I didn't actually ask you, do you think kitchen knife was a good choice for Noel?
No. There's 2/3 of my opinion, dick.
You make a couple of unnecessary racist jokes, and somehow you become the bad guy. Explain that to me.
I can go I can go the long route or the short route. The short route's right.
Hey, so we move past kitchen knife and steak, and my choice for number 5 would be Jason Voorhees' machete.
Yes.
Yeah, because like he fucking chops motherfuckers up like they're going out of fashion in those movies. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I know he uses a lot of other weapons. Like he does, like he's like an environmental weapon. He'll throw motherfuckers.
He folds people in half. Yeah, it's not like
sleeping cases and stuff, like in sleeping bags and stuff. But like one thing I love about the Friday the 13th movies, apart from machete, is that like anytime anyone stands near a window in the last 20 minutes of that movie, Jason Voorhees is coming through that window, or a dead body's coming through that window. like without a shadow of a doubt, like every single time anyone's near a window, someone's coming through that window. And like every single fucking Friday the 13th movie. But like I think like the iconic weapons apart from Michael Myers' steak knife, I think like you have the machete. I know Friday the 13th was kind of always being a rip-off of Halloween. Sean Cunningham said that himself, the director, but I don't know, like if you look at the kind of the iconic hero or villains, that like Jason Voorhees' machete has to be up there. Like when you think of horror and you think of like, there's like the problem I think with a lot of modern horror villains, that there's no real like something that you can link them with. Like as you said, Michael Myers is the kitchen knife, like even Ghostface the kitchen knife, Bram Stoker's Dracula the steak, and then if you think of Jason Voorhees, the first thing you think of is the machete. And the amount of motherfuckers that he's killed with that, I think that like it has to be in my top 5.
Okay, no, that's very reasonable. It's got that kind of like, it's a blade instrument, but it's also quite heavy, so it's also a hacking instrument.
Yeah,
it kind of it blurs the lines.
Hack the bone.
Hack the bone. Yeah. So I of course just the images I've had in my head since I was a kid of just Jason Voorhees holding a machete. It just stays with you. So yeah, how it makes your top 5 is of absolutely no question to me.
How about you, Baish?
So if it makes my top 5,
no. But machete, you don't like machete?
No, but like, do you get like?
No, I get it.
Is it a reason? It's a reasonable number 5.
No, yeah. I mean, going off him, yeah, it's reasonable. It's a good weapon. It's not in my top 5, but you know.
Baish, you're a big dude. You could fuck some amount of people up with machete.
Yeah, but I'm more of a person that likes to use my hands.
That's even scarier.
The last thing people say when somebody says you look like you'd be good with a machete, the last thing you're supposed to say is that I'd be like, imagine being in a job interview.
I've got a lot of
machetes or something. I don't know.
You know, happens.
It's a Noel. What?
Don't hate on me, Noel. Why you attack me?
I didn't. I'm just saying you're such a fucking.
Yeah, no, like this time of year and all. It's a Kwanzaa or something, isn't it? No.
It's my month. You have to be nice to me.
Okay. All right, I'll go. I think next would be.
You know what?
He just disappeared to his background.
I thought that was a monkey behind him. I was like, you son of a bitch.
There it is.
I'm like, kill the recording.
He's leaning into it. He's leaning into being
It's like, no, we're good guys here. We're good guys for now. Wait to see what.
I'm thinking. I was actually, you know what? Up until a couple of minutes ago, and for the last week, almost, my list had chainsaw. But there is an excellent YouTube channel I'm going to plug called is it Zombie Boom, and it uses weapons that are famous in the genre and against, let's just say, zombies. and just to see how practical they are. And like something like a chainsaw, which I was going to use because Ash Leatherface, it's if you were up against it, if you could hit it with something, it's very easy to dislodge the chain. It's very much so a precision weapon that is used on a still, to cut down a tree. It's deadly, of course, but the axe, there's something so vicious about an axe when you see it used. It's used as a hefty weapon, like almost a bludgeoning weapon, but it's also a blade. It can absolutely destroy, cut, dismember. It's been used, I suppose I use the example of The Shining here behind me because it's what comes to mind first. But I think it's a very prevalent weapon. I think it's a very scary weapon. It can break down doors. It can absolutely hack people to bits. It's been used on even dead bodies as just like overt viscera when it's really trying to bring the viscera home, or the violence home in horror films. So I do think that it's probably ranks above something like knives for me. Would be something like a fire axe, a handheld axe, something like that. So the axe makes number 4 on my list.
How would you, Baish?
For my to answer him or go into my list?
No, answer him and then go into
both.
Oh yeah.
Both.
Your chainsaw thing. I think it's a horrible weapon, but of course you're gonna.
Well, I went with axe. Do you think I was right?
No, but I'm going off of what you first said. Yeah, and I was gonna, triculate down. Axe is awesome because it's taking off limbs with one swing, depending on how strong you are. Splitting somebody almost in two with how strong you are, or just cutting at them, little by little, just hacking at them. So an axe is awesome. A hatchet would be better, but whatever.
Because smaller.
Yeah, just get all that strength behind it.
Like Rick Grimes in The Walking Dead. Man.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he's so good with a hatchet. It's insane.
Yeah. Your axe is awesome. That would be in my top 5. You're welcome.
Would it be? Well, what is your number 4 then? I think
my number 4, mate, is it's a sickle.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
Nice. Now we're talking.
Awesome weapon. Now make your case.
Yeah. So a sickle, essentially, once you can get a grip on a sickle on something, it's fucked. It's done because it's ripping you from both sides. Yeah. So I've seen horror where they hit a sickle under someone's like shoulder or under their arm into their armpit. So they try to grab upwards on it. It just rips everything up and just fucks them up. Or going underneath, or like you're actually taking off their fucking head. So to me, a sickle, when it's known how to use right, it's great for taking off like sugarcane, but awesome for killing people too.
Yeah, it's a cleaving weapon.
Examples of it been used really well come to mind for me is Interview with the Vampire,
the Grim Reaper,
and the Grim Reaper, of course. Well, that's just a standard thing, isn't it? Because it's just such a weapon. And also Children of the Corn.
Yeah, Children of the Corn.
Yeah, so it is. It just has that. Like, obviously, as my list goes up, I try to go to more like higher stakes or higher power weapons. But there is just something so prevalently scary about a sickle. Yeah, it's been ingrained into me.
Yeah, exactly.
Horror movies as a whole. And I even think in terms, I don't regret my choice at all, but I just think in terms like, again, the sickle with the whole literal death representation.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you were trying to escape a building that's on fire and somebody had like a break in case of emergency and it was a sickle, you'd be kind of going, no, this is a different kind of setup.
I love that scene in Interview with the Vampire you touched on there, is like when Brad Pitt comes in to get his revenge. Like, he fucking cuts motherfuckers in half, left, right, and center of that. Like,
he comes up against a vampire that's much faster than him, so he predicts where he's going to be and slices him diagonally. It's beautiful. So a sickle just has its place in horror.
Yeah, it does.
It's just hugely prevalent.
Real representation of death. Like, really
to keep it flowing, Vinny. I'm gonna take the lead here. Vinny, go.
As a counterpoint to your argument against the chainsaw.
All right, Vinny's about to talk some shit, so we should probably just fucking.
So my would be like, you talk about Leatherface. You talked about Ash Williams. It's not his surname, and from Evil Dead. The chainsaw, where it might not be practical, because like if anyone has played Dead Rising or anyone has played like any zombie game, when the chainsaw becomes a weapon, it runs out of fuel pretty quickly, and as Noel says, the chains get jammed up like a motherfucker. But if you are a serial killer, or you're some fucking horrible motherfucker that wants to absolutely terrify.
Crazy talk, by
Yeah.
the way. I was here the entire time. So that's
But
just,
if you
anyway, move
if
on.
you a crazy motherfucker and you want to instill fear into your victims, you start up a chainsaw, and I don't give a fuck who you are. That's
I
going to
don't
scare
deny
the
that.
living shit out of you.
I
And
don't
think
deny that.
in terms of fear factor, in terms of the damage you can do, if you can get at someone with a chainsaw, it has to be in my top 5, because this the starting up someone starting a chainsaw up in the dark, and you don't know who's out there, you're shitting yourself straight away. Like immediately, like you know what I mean? So it's just like, and I just think for the fear factor and the damage it can do, if it can get at you, and I know it's not really a practical weapon, but like if you see that big motherfucker like Leatherface who can like run through shit and use that chainsaw to cut his way through, and he just keeps getting closer and closer and closer until he like saws your limbs off, that's scary to me. But yeah, so I definitely think machete number 5, chainsaw number 4 for me, and y'all can go fuck yourself. What do you think of chainsaw? You already give it your points clear.
No, chainsaw. Again, it was on my thing because I always loved when Ash gets his hand taken off and he replaces it with a
Cuts
hand
his own
chainsaw.
hand off.
Cuts his own hand off because it's possessed by the Necronomicon and cuts it off. But at the same time, you know, it was just so cool. Yeah. And yes, it's finite, and yes, and sorry, I watched. I wish I could plug it now because it was really, really good, because I was looking at weapons, and one person was talking about practicality of weapons in actual situations, and the chainsaw kind of came up short in that sense. But at the same time, like you're saying, it's a foreboding weapon, and it's a weapon you assume with destruction. I mean, don't get me wrong. I said axe, and if I came up against a great red oak, I'd much rather have a chainsaw than an axe. There's no denying that. There's no denying that it's an extremely heavy-duty weapon that's been used in really, really kind of grotesque and visceral ways classically in horror, and will continue to do so. So I think it's a great addition. I do. I think it's a great addition. Jokes aside, I think it's an excellent addition.
How about you, Baish?
I like it. I think it's good, but like you said, like the chain messing up, if you're not strong enough to hold it, it's going to be dragging.
It's wielder dependent, isn't it? Whoever holds the chainsaw,
it's who's holding that motherfucker. So if it's somebody that's less than 200 pounds, it's not going to happen. A big motherfucker, then you know he's going to go chainsaw fucking really crazy on you. So chainsaw is awesome if you're a big fucking dude. If you're a small guy, you might want to stick to
an axe
or a hatchet.
Yeah. So
if I may. Just
go ahead. Number 3, motherfucker.
You know what? This is the thing I bet you neither of you even thought of, and if I'm wrong, I apologize. But here we go. It is, and he hits the open button. Teeth.
What?
Teeth, man. The werewolves, vampires, xenomorphs,
Okay,
fucking
Twilight.
Oh, your view. Twilight.
Did you ever hear that joke about teeth? It's not. Sorry, dude. Sorry, I have to tell you a joke.
There is something so fucking
I'm sorry,
terrifying.
I have to tell you a joke, right? I see this tweet, and a guy was like, imagine if a xenomorph was about to go down on you, and she looked at your dick and was like, oh, I guess I have to use the little mouth for this one.
I'd let her. Fuck it.
Tight your fit.
At least you'd be on acid.
This fucking guy. So no,
but teeth, man, teeth. Sheila, all right, Sheila fought me. My partner Sheila, who helped me so much with this, fought me on this one. She didn't agree with me on this one. She goes, because it's not a weapon, because it's not. You don't like grab it, arm it, make it. It's something you have. Yeah. And I said, yeah, but a lot of creatures like again xenomorphs or something like that, they don't have, like, let's say, the capability to use advanced weapons. They are the weapon. And one of the weapons they rely on most, again, like werewolves, vampires, xenomorphs, like the list goes on, would be that they would just literally, and Jaws, there was just something about actually being eaten, which is so horrifying. Horrifying.
Especially,
and I think to just grace over, I fought her on it, and I said no, I have to include it on my list. Because some of the best horror movies I've ever seen are Aliens, I love Ginger Snaps, for example. I think it's an underrated movie. And I think, again, I said Jaws, I said Xenomorphs, and I think vampire movies obviously rely on, biting into the neck, not as much like the viscera of tearing a neck apart. But I do think that a lot of the greatest horror kills have come from literal teeth. just having the throat ripped out of you. So yeah.
No, it's a good call though, because like as you said, like you think about the scene in Jaws when Quint is getting eaten by the shark, like its legs up, like that. Imagine that experience when you're getting, you realize in that moment, oh fuck, I thought I was the top of the food chain. I've been out here fishing, killing sharks like he's been doing his whole life, and then in that moment, for about 30 seconds or a minute while you're being eaten until you die, you have to comprehend the fact that you actually are being eaten and you're about to die. You know what I mean?
Like, and food. I'd actually be food. You know, there's something horrifying about that. As in, if I was given a Sophie's choice between, again, a great choice that we'd met earlier, were like heavy duty weapons like stakes and axes and scythes and what have you, and I would probably take them if I had no other option over being eaten.
Yeah,
there's just something so horrifying about that. And then having your assailant, whatever, even if it's a werewolf or something mindless, there's something horrible about the thought about being food. Just ending up as literal shit. So I always thought teeth were a very scary thing in horror movies. I thought witches, Roald Dahl's witches, it fucked me up when I was a kid.
Like cannibals.
They eat us. They eat us. Yeah, cannibal, anything with cannibals. Yeah. So yeah, no, teeth. I 100% stand by it. Baish.
How about you, Baish?
Teeth, yeah. You're talking about like a zombie or a werewolf.
Sorry, zombie was a huge one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Zombies was a huge one.
Zombies, werewolves, that kind of stuff. That, you know, more that would. I would much rather get eaten than get fucking stabbed or burned to fucking death.
No, I'd rather get stabbed to death than eaten. Because like stabbed,
stabbed, I'd take over eating.
It fucking hurts.
Dude, I stabbed myself in the leg before. It hurts.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you've all had equal experience with it. So,
but no, like
your opinions.
Yeah, no, it's like Richard Dreyfuss in Jaws now. Me and Baish are scared.
No, like, for me, the thought of being eaten isn't as bad as being fucking stabbed to death or burned.
I wouldn't take it over burnt, man. I wouldn't take it over.
I wouldn't like to be burnt to death. No, that's fucked. No.
Yeah, that's horrible. That's bad.
What is your choice, man?
Oh, my next one? It would be supernatural powers.
I like it.
So like Carrie.
Oh, like telekinesis. Is that what it is?
Yeah. So that would be mine, just more of a point. Like, for me, that's fucking it. Like, you think you're getting away from the person. Like, teeth. You get 20, 30 yards away, you're good. The thing's not catching you.
No, teeth, even in the supernatural sense, teeth are a thing you can escape. Like, you get turned to a werewolf, and that's the supernatural thing. But at the same time, if you're not there, you're not, the teeth are still as direct a weapon as a blade. Yeah, you have to literally be one-on-one. Yeah.
So that's that one is just more of a point. Like, all right, cool, but having the power to move shit with your mind, and just be able to just fuck with stuff around you without really having to move, just going off of whatever sadistic thought you have in your head. You know what I mean? Like, just sitting here and being like, oh, make Noel's head even bigger than what it is. Like,
he can manifest. Don't do that.
But just that like, even like I don't like the movie Carrie, but I like the scene from her being in the gym. That scene from when they start and she's in the gym to the end of the movie, fucking love it. Even the newer updated version, the shitty part.
Chloe Grace Moretz, who was an actor I quite like, actually.
Yeah.
But like, even
it wasn't a great movie. No.
Awesome.
The supernatural part of it is what freaks me the fuck out, because it's like, man, if you can move shit with your mind, once someone starts trying to get away from you, it doesn't matter. You're still fucked. Like, let me move the fucking lights to fall on you. Let me have this fucking pole come out of the ground and fucking cut through you. Like, that kind of shit's, freaks me out. That would freak me out more than, Noel's teeth on the screen. I don't know.
No, yeah, I like that too.
I do. I actually, again, this is the battle I lost. I got teeth on, but I got supernatural powers off from my partner. She was like, no, I gave you teeth. Supernatural powers are just a different thing. I was like, what? It's like, a weapon is something I can fuck someone up with. You know what I mean? That was it. And I get to go into fiction. Anyway, you know when you won a battle, you choose your battles. But this is a battle I lost. But I thought supernatural powers, man, is a great choice. I really do.
No, it is a good choice, because like, if you're one of those kids in the prom with Carrie, and you see that kind of shit, like that really fucks with your like perception of reality. Like, you know what I mean?
But
like,
And like Baish said, like, let's just say I got out. I was one of the bullies. I was one of the assholes, but I got out and I ran. And so what? I'm 1,000 feet. You know what? I'm in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'm in Australia, living in the absolute outback. Am I safe?
Dude, it's not Last Jedi now, dude. To calm down.
Yeah. But am I safe? Because supernatural powers don't have a.
This guy's like in Australia. No, they do. No,
but you know what I mean? When it's something that's outside of, like, we live in every weapon we've all mentioned so far, somebody has been killed with. Baish just brought the first thing in thus far that nobody has verifiably been killed with. So if you were in that Carrie situation,
I've gone through some battles with some telekinetic people. It's something I don't want to talk about, but like I will. Okay, so 1994. Picture this. But yeah, so no, I like that too, because like if it's a power that you can't really defend against either, you're fucked.
That's what I mean. But you wouldn't know that. That's the point I was trying to make, is that you don't know the scope.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, now that I'm away, well, it was telekinesis. It doesn't exist in nature. Is she in my head? Is this a game?
Yeah.
Is she letting me live because she knows that my living is torture? That I'm always looking over my shoulder?
The anticipation of is worse than.
Absolutely terrifying weapon when you think about the ability of it. And it's certainly more terrifying than any of the blades that we brought up or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about you, Vin? Sorry, did you go?
No, yeah. My number 3 would be Freddy Krueger Claw Hand. And the reason I like the claw hand.
Uber gay.
No, the reason I like the claw hand is because like you haven't really seen it in many horror movies up to that point. Like it was an original weapon in the slasher verse, because like if you look at all the slasher movies, they're all like knives, axes, bladed weapons. Not a lot of people saw the claw hand before Freddy Krueger, and like you see that kind of menacing silhouette of him where he he just kind of flicks the fucking hand out, and you see all the blades and shit like that, and the harm and the damage he does with that claw hand. I just think like in terms of originality, and compared to other slashers with the weapons, I think Freddy Krueger's claw hand has to be my top 5.
Okay,
that shit's dope though.
Yeah. I actually looked. There was, as a terrorizing weapon. It's actually, of course, like even Freddy, for all his power, like to get up close and personal. But somebody again, I think it's called Zombie Boom or Boom Zombie.
Yeah.
It was really, really fascinating, because when I got into weapons, I ended up going down a rabbit hole, and I wish I give them the credit they deserve, but they were actually used like, ballistic gel and whatever to make like a head and to put whatever on it. And the Freddy Krueger, like, for example, if I had a blade on my pinky finger, and I went to stab you
super
through,
gay, dude.
Super gay. But if I went to stab you through your forehead or a dense bone in your body, I'd break my finger and cut you.
Yeah.
So I would come out the worst in an attack that I started.
No,
so it's not the most practical weapon, but it is a very terrifying one. It's
a slashing weapon more than it would be a trusting weapon.
It's 100% a slashing weapon. Absolutely. Yeah. So it would be a torture weapon or something like that, But no, like Freddy Krueger's claw is as iconic. I think it's probably the series of films I have most of the time.
Yeah.
But becoming such a horror fan, because the 1, 3, and 5 I watched a million times when I was a kid, because a friend of mine.
Why did you not like part 2? Because 2 gay guys.
It was it 2 gay? I've only ever seen part 2 once, and it was fucking terrible. Probably because I hate gay people. Though.
So timestamp, edit out.
Like there, something.
The was the age.
My best mate. My best mate's gay, not black. God no. But
oh my God, Jesus, dude.
I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
Well, all right, moving on. I know, but Baish, what do you think of the claw hand?
Because the what?
I'm Freddy Krueger style claw hand.
I actually thought he froze for a second.
I did. It was just like, what the fuck? Freddy Krueger's claw hands was cool, because obviously I was like 6 when I first saw Freddy, but from watching older movies that predated that, I never seen something like that. So that was cool contrast. And if you think about it, since Freddy, have you seen it?
Exactly.
Prevalent. So it's more of a thing of like, it was that one person that could pull it off, and to a point that they don't think anyone else can.
Yeah. The closest that came iconic one would be like Edward Scissorhands or Vega from Street Fighter. Like they're the only ones that you've ever seen that kind of had that kind of similar style. But in terms of horror, no, Freddy's singular.
Oh, singular, yeah. And like Edward Scissorhands is quite it's a different telling. It's a different telling of something like that. So yeah. But it's iconic because it's Freddy. He's one of the top 5 properties in all of horror, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. And so we have our first 3. So I went for 5 machete, Noel went steak knife, and or kitchen knife, sorry, Baish went
kitchen
steak.
knife, yeah.
For number 4, I went chainsaw, Noel went axe, and Baish, you went sickle.
Sickle.
And so for number 3, I went claw hand, Noel, you went teeth. Psycho. And Baish went supernatural powers. So Noel, what's your number 2? And then Baish, what's your number 2? And we're nearly out here.
Okay, well, I suppose my number 2 would be something that might be a little bit on the obvious side of the spectrum, but I do think that it's always been so huge, is fire. And that is, it's prevalent in movies like The Thing, The Mist. It's or even like, movies where the bad guy can keep regenerating and stuff, and the only thing you can do is burn them to nothing. Yeah. Fire is always like, there's even that like, oh my god, it's so ugly, kill it with fire. Fire is a huge aspect of horror because it's one thing that relays absolute destruction, be them a zombie, like piss poor fucking enemy, or a vampire, which is a really high-end enemy, but burn them to nothing. And fire, I do think, dating back to the Middle Ages where we burnt witches and stuff, is just it was like a horrifying thing before we started having horror films. So it would have to be like really near the tippy top of my list. I just think, and again, The Thing being my favorite horror film, I just have to say, yeah, fuck it, dudes, flamethrowers, fires, fire pits, fire traps, explosives to a degree. I do think that's a separate weapon, but anything that can create destruction like that is definitely a weapon that would have to be in my top 2.
Baish, what do you think of fire?
It's hot.
And we just discovered it in Ireland like 2 years ago, so we're kind of
it was cool.
right now.
It was a big deal.
Lanterns and all kinds of stuff.
Prometheus gave it to us, and we understand that he's in trouble now.
Yeah, we can't talk about Prometheus. We get canceled.
Liver. It's awesome. Fire is pretty crazy. It's pretty scary. Funny 2 stories. My oldest brother burned my thumb when I was little, or my hand. He caught my hand on fire. So when I was little, I was like super afraid of fire after that. So that fucking sucked. Second, my great grandmother told my other grandmother a story about some girl in her village being burned because I thought she was like doing like voodoo and shit.
Jesus,
and she was Christ. She was like 8.5 months pregnant, and she was about to give birth, and they wanted to burn her before she gave birth. I thought it was gonna be like a demon baby or some shit like that, right? So it's super fucked up the way my grandmother described it. But like as she's burning to death, like the baby's falling out of her stomach.
Jesus Christ!
It's fucking insane, dude.
Oh man, I just got the image, man.
Right?
Dude.
I really appreciate you taking the light off the racist joke I made earlier. But fuck me.
Which joke?
I don't know. I've forgotten myself. All that exists now is what he just said.
Yeah, no, it was like super. Dude, I was told this story as a fucking bedtime story when I was like 6.
A bedtime story?
Bedtime story.
By somebody who loves you.
Yeah.
To show him like Nightmare on Elm Street and tell him that story. It's a great way.
This person loved you?
It's about fire.
You stand by that.
Crazy. She sounded just like you, but a little bit, just like you, effeminate, mousy. But no, like my grandmother, who's Irish, she's the one who told me that story because it happened like in her village, and I was just like, fuck. But yeah, that shit's crazy. But yeah, that's fire is scary as shit. Especially if you've been burned. My number 2 would be fists.
It's not. I wrestle with
it
because we've seen in the newer Halloween movies, and we've seen it in a lot of Friday the 13th. If you are, that's the thing. If something is just so, we've seen it in Terminator. If something you like, yeah, you're a badass and you're tough and you've got in close and like this should be where you can dominate. Yeah, but what if something is beyond your UFC fighters or your boxers? What if something is just able to fold you in half like a fucking napkin? That's terrifying.
Exactly.
And Voorhees did it in the fourth. He literally folded a guy backwards. And I wrestled with it. It didn't make my list, but I do think it's an excellent addition.
Yeah, there's the thought of being beaten to death by someone that's just physically superior than you. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
to a degree that it's just
you're his prey.
Yeah. You just beat, and there's nothing you can do. It's just like you're sitting there like Noel on prom, just taking it. Just taking and pounding. Just taking.
No, I didn't take anything on prom at all.
I mean, your cousin counts.
At all.
Your cousin counts. It's all right.
Oh shit! Emma will be thrilled.
What?
You want to know the actual disturbing part of that joke? I have a first cousin called Emma. So why I invoked a real cousin is just going to haunt me until my dying day.
Wait. What did you say? You fucked his cousin?
No.
Oh my god.
Is that because like when you were talking, it kind of like skipped in and out a little bit. All I heard was fuck and cousin.
Oh, wow.
Great story.
Okay.
You're like, it's a great story. I'm like, that's not a great story. That is not a great story. You
depends on what the cousin is.
At your family reunion. Horrible.
Okay.
All right, cool. Your number 2 is Hands, and my number 2 is going to be Michonne samurai sword from The Walking Dead. The samurai sword is it's an iconic weapon, and like in terms of like killing zombies, like the way she uses it, she kills motherfuckers. Like she can, I think, in terms of a decapitation weapon, and if you're fighting zombies, the best way to kill them is decapitation. You're going to run out of bullets. Like if you're dealing with like more than 10 or 12 or 15 or whatever, depends on how good you are of a shot. But like with a samurai sword, like for thousands of years, people have been getting their heads cut off with samurai swords, like for thousands of years. And like, so when it comes to like a zombie apocalypse or some shit, and you have like someone like a Michonne, and like it shows that she said that she just found the sword, like, so it shows that the samurai swords are so proficient in terms of like killing weapons that like nearly anyone can pick it up, and if you can swing it hard, you can start lopping motherfuckers' heads off left, right, and center. So like I think like outside of like a machete, I think a samurai sword is probably the most iconic bladed weapon in history, probably. Like it's probably even more iconic than a machete, even like in horror. Like in terms of like, Jason Voorhees is more iconic than Michonne, but like in terms of weapon, I think it's probably more iconic. So,
I don't think that horror has explored to the degree that it should, because there's too many properties that it just dives into.
Yeah.
Where it's gone back. There's not many horrors based in like previous times, like feudal times or whatever, what might have. But I actually everyone would agree, whether you are a horror fan or, you know what, fucking a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, it was the coolest weapon.
Yeah.
Because it was forged by the absolute masters and handled by masters. As in, you weren't allowed to make one until you were the best, and you weren't allowed to handle one until you were the best. And when that was given to a character in a kind of zombie movie, it was so iconically cool because she actually respected it. As in, she it was like, it's not like a machete, because a machete brings to mind hacking through brush.
Yeah.
But anytime you took out something like a katana or something like that, every swing was swung for a purpose, and it was always absolutely iconic. I don't know if it's as iconic as like whatever the machete or something like that, but it's so fucking cool. It's just so fucking cool.
Yeah,
it's a pass.
Yeah,
for me,
it's probably the coolest bladed weapon out there, I think.
Exactly, it just simply is. So for that, I think it's an excellent second pick.
How about you, Baish?
How about you, Baish?
I think it's awesome. There should be more movies using it.
Exactly, that's what I mean. It's a backward thinking thing, which is not in a bad way, but just everything seems to be.
Yeah, everybody wants to go for the glory kill instead of like beautiful motion.
Yeah.
It's watching somebody just rip through using one just as they're going is like, this is a bad movie, but 47 Ronin.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves.
Sword going back and forth. Like it's something beautiful about it and something, awesome. what was it, Ninja Assassin or Ninja Warrior Assassin, whatever it was,
Yeah,
using
I've seen that too.
using the sword, using the katana, using the samurai sword just to rip through people just one by one with like just a one motion is like beautiful. And to watch it in a horror movie and watch an actual like villain use it would be fucking awesome.
Yeah,
because
it's devastating.
Yeah, it's devastating. Plus, it's something you haven't seen.
Yeah,
it would be great. Look, I just gave like someone $1 million idea.
It's good. I'll let it out.
Yeah.
Right. So Noel, we go for you. We go you, then me, and then we'll give Baish the last shout. So Noel, what's your number one? Then I'll give my number one, and then Baish, you can get us the fuck out of here.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. I suppose now that this is my like no holds barred kind of thing where I always kind of go to it when I'm.
Just go for it, dude.
It is, of course, the Necronomicon.
Nice. I've seen it pop up like several times throughout the show.
What? This isn't a huge shock to you? Whoa. All right. But for everybody else who will ever see this is a huge shock. They're shocked about.
Yeah. No,
this is the Necronomicon. This is, I was thinking about this because it's a weapon that would ultimately destroy you, but like the mutually assured destruction is something that the world already exists on the premise of.
Yeah.
And the Necronomicon, I love the fact that it doesn't really tie into like any particular religion or anything like that. The Necronomicon was always very messy.
Yeah.
When the lament configuration from Hellraiser or something as absolutely daunting as it is, the Necronomicon was just like funny and awful and hell and earth and people and just absolute bullshit, but everything would get torn asunder.
Chaos.
And it was just pure chaos on a global level.
Yeah.
And maybe an eternal global level. And I always just thought that if like, okay, for my number one spot, not the coolest, not the one I like, but the thing that I think could fuck everything up the most, it would be human curiosity.
Yeah.
And dark arts.
Yeah.
Absolutely combined for the ultimate fucking smackdown. And that for me is the goddamn motherfucking Necronomicon, which has only been revealed now for the first time. Everyone's impressed.
Yeah, like in Evil Dead, like all those
huge reveal.
Like all those kids in Evil Dead, they fuck each other up. Like there's like it's like it not only turns you bad, but it turns you on everyone that you love, and it turns everyone you love bad. And it's just as you said, it's messy, it's pure chaos and mayhem. Like that's what I love about the Necronomicon in Evil Dead, and like even the Evil Dead remake directed by Fede Alvarez. That I think was Fede Alvarez, but like it's just pure chaos. It's just bloodshed. It's just like it makes you cut your own fucking arm off, like we talked about Ash Williams. Like you know what I mean? Like and it made like the finale of like the remake of Evil Dead, the girl with the chainsaw and shit like that. It's just like it's pure evil at its purest level in its purest form, and that's what the Necronomicon is. Like so, I totally agree. That's a good fucking number one. But my number one before we get fuck out here, before I give the base, sorry, then we get fuck out here is like you said, fire. For your number 3, I think, or number 2. But I was going to go with something a bit more specific, and that would be actually no. Baish, what did you think of Necronomicon? Sorry, dude, I was skipping over you.
That's crazy. Is like I never really heard about that shit until I heard Noel talking about that shit before. So it was good to. I heard him talking about it, and then I looked it up. This is fucking insane. So I'll give it to you with that big block of shit behind you. But yeah, I mean, it's not my number one. It's not something I would be like, this will be it. But it's if you've never heard of it and you have to read up on it, it's fucking dope. It's completely like
creepy as fuck.
Amazing. Yeah,
and it is. It's definitely that. Yeah.
My number one, and then I'll give it to you, Baish, and then we get the fuck out of here. Is like Noel said, fire. Something I'm going to touch on a bit more specific is the flamethrower from the thing. RJ McCready, Kurt Russell's. The flamethrower. I think like one thing about flamethrower is if you're fighting someone that has a gun, you're fucked because if they shoot the tank, you're a bomb. But like if you're going up against something like the thing, like a creature that's assimilating, and as you said to Noel, that you want to break it down to ashes, that you have to completely destroy a motherfucker. Like if like the reason that flamethrower became prevalent in warfare is because of bunker wars. Like they had to go in and clear out bunkers in like Japan and in Europe and shit like that.
World War One, it was used just clean out the fucking foxholes. Yeah,
exactly. Like so it's like a pure devastation weapon. It's like But like it's so devastating. That's also as devastating to the user nearly as it is to the people that you're using it against. But I think it's totally enemy dependent with Flamethrower, because if you got a guy that's a crack shot, you're fucked. But I think if you need to take out like a horde of zombies, or if you need to go in and wipe out like a creature, like a thing, or like a demigorgon or some shit like that, that you're one chance, or sorry, like 90% of the time, if you set something on fire, it dies. And a flamethrower, I think, is the best way of setting something on fire. If not the best way, it's definitely the fucking coolest way. So that's why it's my number one. And Baish, your number one. I'm gonna get the fuck out of here.
My number one is something super simple, but something super fucking scary if you see it.
Noel's face.
No face.
Noel's face.
High five. Okay. No. So sad. No, it's a scalpel.
Nice.
From like Hostel when he cuts his Achilles.
Oh, of course.
In the first one where the chick cuts her belly and like drains her fucking blood or the thing, she's using a scalpel.
But it's like, I'm not, if somebody pulls an axe, like, oh my God, I'm gonna die, and you might take an axe to the head. When somebody pulls a scalpel,
pure precision.
It's that you are in for it. You aren't going to live, but you are in for a long fucking evening.
Yeah, when he cuts the eyelids off,
terrifying weapon.
Yeah, but when like in Hostel, for example, when the Achilles get fucking cut, and he starts to cut his eyelids and starts cutting pieces of his skin off with the scalpel, not a knife. That shit. Like you said, you see somebody whip out a scalpel, you're not getting fucking stabbed in the throat, and it's over. They're cutting you a bunch of times. They're cutting shit off of you.
Yeah,
so,
it's slow death.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. No, I like because like as you said, like, and it's like if someone's using a scalpel, they've normally killed motherfuckers before. You know what I mean? Like, because it's a pure precision weapon, like surgical precision, like a Jack the Ripper or some shit. Because that's one thing they always said, that like they thought was someone that had like a medical background because of how precise the cuts were. So could you imagine, like, how like painful that would have been? You're like there and fucking in the darkness, and some dude's like cutting you up, pulling organs out of you, and you can do it so precisely that you're probably alive for a good portion of it before you go into shock and die. Yeah, like scalpel's fucked up weapon. Do you want to do dishonorable mentions? Because I forgot about it. But I have one.
Yeah.
Do you want to do before we go, Baish? You have a dishonorable mention. We start with you. We go Noel, then me.
I had it, and mine was teeth.
How dare you?
No, but that's what
fucking pagan.
That's why I didn't say anything. I don't know if you noticed, but when you said teeth, I didn't say anything. I was just sitting there like. I was just like, it is predicated on you getting really, really close.
Yeah.
Like really, really close. And usually it has to be by surprise.
Yeah.
So it's not
overpower them,
It's just.
Well, I've got a good answer on like Baish's,
good.
Which we should prayer.
Oh my God.
Fucking prayer.
Oh my God.
As in, you're about to take over the universe and you're about to turn the world inside out. But I know your name, Rumpelstiltskin. Fuck off. Fuck off.
You talking about like possession movies or some shit?
Yeah, it's like, I know your name, blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh no, I had all the power in the universe, but like, you know who I am. It's like demons should wear balaclavas instead of no. Or like we're just people like where it's like everything's about to go to shit. But what if we sat really, really still and basically meditate for a minute? No, I'm not. I'm never impressed. Never impressed. I always find it fucking lacking. I always think it's a lame fucking weapon. I always feel at the end, like the nun. I felt at the end of the nun, it's like, oh, I know your name. It's this. I was like, and again, it just makes me think Rumpelstiltskin.
But so Baish, you said teeth. Noel, you said prayer. Mine is garden shears from the movie The Burning. The garden shears is a fucking shitty weapon. Like someone's coming at me with garden shears, I'm fucking that dude up 80% of the time. It's like a giant scissors.
Wait, so you have no weapon, and that person is garden shears.
Yeah,
80% of the time you're winning.
Yeah, just in case one of them's
garden shears break really easily if they're jabbed into anything. They break. And
I think I still rather have them than not have them.
No, because you have to do this motion.
Upwards,
when you're doing this, I'm kicking in the dick.
If you hold them upwards at a downward angle, they don't close.
Yeah, like they're shitty.
Yeah, it's like you're gonna get poked.
Yeah.
You're gonna get poked. I'm gonna give you a good poking. Like that's pretty much what's gonna happen.
No, I promise you come at me with some garden shears. I'm taking those garden shears off and I'm headbutting you.
Do we have it now on record that if I kill you with garden shears to try and take over the MBK Empire?
When you're doing this shit here, like I'm gonna kick you in the dick. You're coming at me like this. Dick kick. Like immediately.
Do we get Baish's number one or did I skip?
It was yours.
It was fucking hell, yeah.
So right.
Oh man, it's a bad number one.
Yeah. No,
only my number one made sense. I win lists.
So your number two, Noel, was what was it? What was your number two? Fire, and in the Necronomicon, and Baish, your number two was,
I think mine was Fist,
and number one was Scalpel. Mine was the Samurai Sword and the Flamethrower. Sombra mentions who gives a fuck. Let's get the fuck out of here. Get on to do some.
Can I just before we get out of here just pray a little bit of fucking credit to my beautiful fiance who made what I think to be an absolutely fantastic list.
Why didn't you put it up during the background then?
Yeah,
why didn't you have her list up? Why did you go?
Yeah, because I was trying because they work better as a fucking. There's talismans.
But why did you go with your shitty list? You should have gone with hers.
What was the initial format that you created all these sites in?
It was all on PowerPoint.
PowerPoint, I see. So now we've taken a time machine back to the mid-90s. Excellent. So,
so let's set you up.
I could not hate you more.
Oh, shit. Go get your laser disc, bro.
All of the media is going to be shared using that. Okay.
Fuck y'all. For everybody.
All right, you motherfuckers. Baish, thanks so much for coming again, man. And Noel, I have to put up with you because you're fun to talk about, I guess. So so this was Player Rankers, and that was our top 5 favorite horror movie weapons. I'm Vincent Green.
I'm Noel John Toohey.
Forgot, did you have one job? Jesus.
You can think about PowerPoint this
whole time. Sorry, I'm processing the sheer figure of funness.
You'd be able to process it better if you didn't have such shitty software, but whatever. I'm your host, Mr. Green. No, come on, dude.
I'm your host, Old John Toohey.
That was Baish Benford, and this is Pair Rankers. We see you next time, motherfuckers. Peace.
Peace.